What's up YouTube, it's your boy Rhett back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Strike's new feature, and it's a total Coinbase killer. The feature is called Pay Me in Bitcoin. If you guys watch the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about what the Pay Me in Bitcoin feature is and how you can get access to it. I'll talk about what I like about the feature. We'll cover some of the things that Strike still needs to work on as an app. And then finally, I'll let you guys know if you should consider using Strike and why this feature makes some exchanges totally obsolete. Go down below and smash the like button for getting paid in Bitcoin, and let's level up your brain. Pay Me in Bitcoin is the Strike app's latest feature, and it allows you to link your payroll from your employer to your Strike account just like you would with any other bank account. So to connect your Strike account to your employer's payroll system, you're just gonna go open your Strike app and you're gonna click the little person down in the bottom right-hand corner, and then you're gonna go to direct deposit. This is gonna bring up your Strike bank account routing number and your account number, and you're gonna use those numbers to feed into your payroll system to basically deposit your check into the Strike app. And then you'll see down at the bottom here, there's this Get Paid in Bitcoin button where you can decide how much of the paycheck that you deposit is going to be turned into Bitcoin and how much is going to get turned into USD. I'm going to set mine to 100% Bitcoin for reasons that we'll talk about later in the video. So next you're going to take these numbers, the routing number and the account number, and you're going to go to your employer's payroll portal. My payroll is done through the company ADP, and it was really easy to just go in there and add a new bank account, which is my Strike bank account, and then split my paycheck to the Strike bank account just like I would any other bank account. I'll put up a screenshot here, but basically I'm sending $200 from every paycheck into my Strike bank account. I have 10% going to a savings account, and then the rest is just going to my normal primary checking account. Strike then takes that $200 order and converts 100% of it, or whatever percent that you told it to allocate to Bitcoin, straight into Bitcoin. By the time this video actually goes up, I've actually been using this feature for a little more than a month now. And when I originally started using the feature, I thought it would be interesting to see what would happen if you had some split that wasn't 100-0. So I started with 90% Bitcoin, 10% US dollars. And I'll put up a video somewhere on the screen here of how that went down. Basically, I received $180 directly in Bitcoin that went right into the Bitcoin tab in my Strike app. And then the extra $20, that 10% USD, just went straight into my Strike app as a USD balance, totally normally the same way that you would collect USD from doing a regular ACH deposit within the Strike app. And with that $180 of Bitcoin that was deposited into my Bitcoin tab, I was able to, for 0 fees, withdraw that Bitcoin directly into my Casa cold storage multi-sig. And it took a little bit less than an hour for that withdrawal to be processed from my Strike app directly into my cold storage Casa multi-sig. After that first deposit where I was split 90-10, I didn't really see a reason to be depositing that 10% of US dollars within my Strike app. And so from now on, I'll be converting 100% of the money that goes directly into Strike straight into Bitcoin. So that's basically what the feature is and how it works. And if you're interested in signing up for the feature, I think it is still in beta at the time of the recording of this video. So I'll leave a link down in the description. You can go to payday.strike.me to sign up for the waitlist to get access to this feature for yourself. Next, let's talk about the practical applications of this feature and why I think it's a really great feature. The best part of the Pay Me in Bitcoin feature is, in my opinion, it is definitively the easiest way to set up a dollar cost averaging scheme into Bitcoin. Linking your payroll to your Strike bank account is something that a lot of people are already going to be familiar with because they use their payroll system anyway to split their paychecks between checking and savings accounts probably. And it's a lot easier than setting up something like the Gemini API or the Coinbase Pro API. Secondly, the money is converted to Bitcoin right when you receive it. There's no manual process or button clicks that you have to do. It's totally automatic. And you're able to move it out of the Strike app and into either a cold storage wallet or a BlockFi kind of CeFi yield product wallet, or even a Lightning wallet. All of those things, any wallet you control, you can move it off the Strike app to any of those wallets right away and for no fee. Or at least I haven't had any fees when I've been withdrawing my Bitcoin from the Strike app to any other wallet that I control. And then finally, and maybe most importantly, the fees for executing this dollar cost averaging strategy with Strike are really, really low. I did my best to find out what the execution price on Gemini would have been at the time that this Bitcoin buy was executed on Strike, just to see how bad the price execution on Strike was versus Gemini. Because on Strike, they don't really show you, there is no fee. It's just that the price that the trade is executed at is slightly higher than the price that you might find at the same time on Gemini or on Coinbase Pro or on Kraken. And you can see just from some of the graphics that I'm gonna put on screen here that the execution price that I got on Strike was a little bit less than 0.3% higher than the Strike price on Gemini at about the time that the trade was executed. So just be aware that while Strike is advertised as 0 fees, and I think that they'll probably get there over time as the amount of volume that they process increases, that as of the recording of this video at least, all of my trades have been about 0.3% higher than the actual price that I would have gotten on an exchange like Gemini. 0.3%, however, is a really competitive fee when you compare it to other big exchanges, and definitely when you compare it to other mobile app solutions like Cash App and Venmo and PayPal. And it's even better than the 0.5% that you would be getting over on exchanges like Coinbase Pro, which I think if Coinbase Pro wants to remain relevant in this whole like fee discussion, that they're gonna really need to step up their game. There have been talks about a direct deposit feature coming to Coinbase Pro that is also allegedly zero fees, and a lot of these places that claim that they have zero fees, it's not actually zero fees. So as more details about that get rolled out, I will definitely look into it and maybe make a video on it if it's relevant at some point in the future. The 0.3% fee, however, on Strike, or the market spread, it's not a fee, right? They don't want to call it a fee, but it's a market spread that's built into the price. That's still 3 times higher than the fees that you would be getting with the Gemini API, or with Kraken or Binance or Okung or FTX or KuCoin. Overall, a really great feature, right? Really low fees, super easy to execute, and blows the other mobile app solutions totally out of the water when it comes to how competitive the fees are. Next, let's talk about what Strike still needs to improve. How can they make this feature even better? And I'll give you some reasons why you might not want to totally switch all of your dollar cost averaging away from something like a Gemini API strategy into Strike just because of this feature. So the first issue that I have with Strike, I've had this issue with Strike ever since I started using it about a year ago. The Strike app is much less secure than all of the other apps that we just talked about. So Gemini, Coinbase Pro, even Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all of those apps have better security features than Strike. In iOS, there isn't even a Face ID or a passcode that you can enter to protect your app. Apparently, over on some Android phones, there is something built into the operating system that allows you to password protect any app, and unfortunately, iOS doesn't have anything like that, so points for Android, I guess. There's also no option in the Strike app for setting up two-factor authentication or withdraw whitelisting, both of which are totally key security features that you would want on any app that you're giving access to your bank account and that deal in cryptocurrency. A withdraw whitelist, for those of you that aren't aware of what that is a feature that's built into big exchanges like Gemini and like Coinbase Pro. And what the withdraw whitelist basically does is it says, if the address is not on this pre-approved list of addresses that we can withdraw funds to, don't make any withdrawals. And what this means basically is if an attacker had hacked your account, they wouldn't be able to take any of the cryptocurrency that was on your exchange and then send it to an address that they controlled, because their address wouldn't be on your whitelist, and it takes up to 7 days to add a new address to that withdrawal whitelist. Strike doesn't have any of these security features, and so if someone was able to steal your phone and get access to it, they would be able to open your Strike app, deposit the maximum amount weekly from your bank account, spot buy Bitcoin, and then instantly withdraw that Bitcoin to an address that they controlled. And they'd be able to do this because there's no password on the app, right? So they can just get right in. If you have a linked bank account, they can withdraw the funds from your bank account into the Strike app. They can buy the Bitcoin and then they can withdraw to whatever address they want because there is no withdrawal whitelist. And at any of those steps, there's no validation for two-factor authentication or any sort of passcode or Face ID or anything that you need to put in to validate who you are. And it's for this reason that I don't really keep very much money in Strike. I'm really worried that people are going to take my phone, and if they take my phone, they'll just be able to take all the money out of Strike or convert all the money that's in Strike into Bitcoin and then take all that Bitcoin for themselves. I don't like talking about this security vulnerability in Strike because I really like Strike as a company, and I think that they're one of the most exciting companies in the world right now. They're really revolutionizing what's happening in the mobile payment space and in the Bitcoin Lightning Network implementation space. And so I really want to root for them, but I feel like if I'm not being transparent with you guys and telling you that there are major security issues with even having Strike on your phone and having it linked to your primary checking account, I feel like that would be dishonest and not be giving you guys all the information that you need when you go to download Strike. And I will definitely keep making videos about Strike in the future, and I'm really hoping that they implement some of these just no-brainer security things as soon as possible, basically, so that I can just stop talking about it. So if we set security aside for a second and we talk about like what are the other issues with the Strike app at this point, I think it would be really aggressive for anyone to take their whole paycheck and deposit the entire thing into the Strike app. The checking account features of Strike don't even really exist yet. There's no way to do bill pay that I know of. I'd be sort of suspicious of linking my Strike routing number and stuff to bill pay features that, like, if I don't pay them, my electricity turns off, just because the backend infrastructure of Strike is not as robust as something like Charles Schwab or like Chase. And so I think moving your entire primary checking account over to Strike is sort of a aggressive move at this point. I do think that eventually those features will get built out, and there is talk of Strike releasing a debit card and some of these more general checking account features. But right now, the reason I'm only depositing small amounts of money into Strike to use is that the app is still really new, and I wouldn't be comfortable putting all of my paycheck into Strike, and I would advise you against the same thing, not financial advice obviously, but your primary checking account probably has a lot more robust features than the Strike app does at this point. Final downside, and this is probably not going to apply to many people, but there are limits on how much Bitcoin you can withdraw from Strike in a daily and in a weekly basis. My current limit for withdrawing is $3,000 a day and $10,000 a week. Probably not very many people are going to be dealing with that amount of money within Strike, but if you are planning to deal with a lot of money within Strike, just know that those limits are in place. And again, it's not as robust as your checking account, right? If you have a checking account and you can withdraw, more money than that from your checking account and there aren't those same limitations, this is where Strike is not going to be sort of up to snuff with those other options that are already out there for you. And then finally, it's also not available within the US in New York or Hawaii. So if you're in those jurisdictions, none of this even matters to you. You can't even download the app yet. So some final thoughts here about Strike and whether or not you should be using it compared to other exchanges. If you found that the Gemini API tutorial that I'll link up here in the cards was too complicated for you and you want a really simple way to dollar cost averaging Bitcoin, the Pay Me in Bitcoin feature in Strike, I think, is the simplest way to dollar cost average Bitcoin of any solution that you could possibly implement. If you're worried about the security of Strike, but you still want a super easy way to dollar cost average Bitcoin, I would suggest that you head over to Swan Bitcoin and check out their dollar cost averaging service. They'll basically set up auto deposits, auto withdrawals, and auto buys of Bitcoin on your behalf. Their fees are higher than the Gemini API and then Strike, but if you want a really easy way that's also secure to dollar cost average Bitcoin, I think Swan Bitcoin is still the best option to do that. And then if you're looking for the definitive best solution to dollar cost averaging Bitcoin, that is still the Gemini API. They have the best fees. They're a highly regulated exchange, and they do have all of those security practices that we talked about. They have withdrawal whitelisting. They have two-factor authentication, and you can even set that up with a hardware device. So Gemini is a really robust platform, and their API is the lowest fee of any exchange with that 0.1% make or buy order option, and then the 10 free transfers per month. So if you are willing to do the 20 or 30 minutes of work that it takes to fully implement a completely automated Gemini API strategy, definitely check out that video. I'd say even if you're not super technical, you will be able to follow along with the instructions. It's just a lot of button clicking and copy and paste. And I'll put links down in the description for all of those options that we talked about today in this video. So Gemini, Swan, and then also Strike, obviously. Let me know what option you guys are using and what you guys think of Strike. Go ahead and comment down below if anything that I said was confusing or if you do have any questions. I do still respond to all the comments that YouTube doesn't remove for no reason. Go down below and like the video so that YouTube shows it to other people who are looking for Strike information and the easiest way to dollar cost average Bitcoin. And then subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. I love you all. Goodbye.